touch. Stones out there to win it, can't do. Through towards Smith Rowe. What a turn by Smith Rowe. What a goal by Smith Rowe. When you lose a game in the title race with 3 games remaining, you know how it feels. We're in the Champions League final, we're in the FA Cup final, but I think we're out of what could have been the Premier League final on the final day. Guardiola for City. He blows the whistle as we attack. Full time, a 1-0 defeat to Spurs, and the title is done. Dead and buried. Manchester City give it their all, but no Haaland, no De Bruyne. We've missed them massively. And a 1-0 defeat at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, another defeat at this ground again, which has been cursed for City, means the title race is absolutely over. And I don't think there's any way back. Even if the 5 points clears, Liverpool win the league table. Win the league title, they're top of the table. We tried, but 5 in a row was too much. Can it be a last minute goal? Foden in, Diaz. Tony on the turn! What a goal from Ivan Toney! 91st minute of the FA Cup final. And on the volley, the overhead kick wins City the FA Cup. Manchester City's Pep Guardiola side, FA Cup winners again. Ter Stegen, saved by Ederson! Saved by Ederson! Up steps Ruben Diaz, and he lifts the Champions League trophy. City are champions of Europe again. So welcome back to We Are City channel for Season 2 of our Manchester City Reboot career mode. Of course, Gundogan is back, and that is one of the big news compared to last season, where we didn't win the Premier League title, but we won the FA Cup, and we won the Champions League as well. And into Season 2 now, Gundogan is back, and there's a few little things I want to touch on before we start the series. Starting with what our aims are for this series. Well, with Gundogan back, there's only one thing we're aiming for. We want to win the treble. That is exactly our aim. We want to win the treble again. With Ilkay Gundogan back, the FA Cup, the Champions League, and the Premier League need to come to Manchester City at the end of Season 2. And you guys must be thinking, though, however, by the time this video is released, what about FC25? Because that is coming out very, very soon. Well, I'll tell you about FC25. We will finish this series first. We're going to go back to 3 episodes a week, I think. Maybe 5 episodes this week, I'm not sure. But longer episodes, more action-packed episodes. I'm not going to start FC25 straight away on the day it launches, obviously. And I do like to give it a few weeks to sort of them to make up with the mistakes in the game and patch lots of things. The first few weeks of the game tend to be lots of issues in the gameplay, bugs in career mode and so on. You just give it a few weeks for things to settle down, and then we will start the Manchester City FC25 career mode. Don't worry about that. That is the plan anyway from the moment I'm speaking. And into Season 2 now, where we start things for this series with departures already. Kyle Walker has left the club. He has agreed to join Sheffield United on a free transfer after leaving the club at the end of his contract. Nico Riley has left the club on loan. He has joined Fulham on loan. We've seen Joel Indala. He has moved to Almeria on loan. Augustin Roberto, he has left the club to join Valencia on loan. And then finally, Stefan Ortega Moreno, he agreed to move in the end of last season to join Bayer Leverkusen. And a player that has revealed that wanted to leave is Nathan Ake, who received offers for. But starting off with Maximo Pirone, a player I'd like to involve in the first team squad this season. A £20 million offer from AC Milan was immediately rejected by the club because we want to keep him. But as for Nathan Ake, some surprising clubs have come in for him. One was Manchester United, a lowball offer we rejected immediately. But Chelsea have made an offer for Nathan Ake, which we will negotiate. He could return to his former side. And Nathan Ake has had offers from Chelsea and Aston Villa, both of £65 million. They've accepted £65 million from both for Ake from both Chelsea and Aston Villa. And now he's down to the Dutchman, who I don't want to lose, to be honest with you, but he wants to go. He wants more game time. That is fine. To make a decision, does he join Chelsea or Aston Villa? How do we replace Ake? Well, at the moment, I'm thinking about using former on-loan player Callum Doyle in his position. And here is breaking news. Manchester City, Nathan Ake leaves City in a £65 million transfer. But where does he go? Back to Chelsea or with a new challenger Aston Villa? Nathan Ake, surprisingly, goes to Aston Villa and rejects a return to former club Chelsea. And there we have to say thank you for Nathan Ake to all he did for Manchester City. He will actually be very much missed. Now, with more transfers leaving the club, lots of players leaving the club on loan and so on. Jacob Wright has joined Ipswich on a 12-month loan. Echeverri back to Brighton again. He enjoyed it there, so he's back there on a 12-month loan. Mohamedou Sissoko joins Nico Riley at Fulham in a Premier League loan move. We've seen Christian McFarlane. We won't see him again in this series. A 2-year loan to AZ Alkmaar. We've got Divin Mobamba, a player who came in from our youth system, 12-month loan to the Championship Hull City side. Jael Katongo joins Atalanta on a 12-month loan as we continue to cut down this big squad. And finally, Kaiki, he joins Bologna on a 12-month loan with an option to buy and make that a permanent move. There is confirmation of Stefan Ortega's move to Bayer Leverkusen, and he is a big miss really, but he didn't play much games for us, and now we need to look for someone probably not as highly rated as him, maybe not experienced as him, but a future goalkeeper, someone who can come in and back up Ederson for Season 2. Well, goalkeeper options consist of Jason Steele from Brighton. He's got a bit of a battle on his hands, hasn't he, with Verbruggen, so he's not exactly a first-choice goalkeeper. He'd come in at around 7 million, 33 years of age. He'd come in as an experienced goalkeeper, the Englishman, and he is one that he actually does interest me quite a lot to become a second choice goalkeeper for this series because of his age, because of his experience, because he's quite highly rated. But I think like the issue he has at Brighton with Verbruggen, he wants to be a first choice goalkeeper, and I'm not exactly sure. We know we can't offer him that at Manchester City, and that probably isn't the one. We've got Mikael of Atletico Paranaense here. He's going to cost big money, around 30 million perhaps, to bring in the young Brazilian, but he would be one you consider as a future replacement for Ederson. He's got high potential. He plays for Brazil's national team or youth national team. He's very highly rated. He took over as first choice goalkeeper from Bento and moved to the Saudi Pro League. Mikael stands out to me as a goalkeeper for the future, but probably at that price and the real rebuild we've got on our hands of the squad this season, I'm not looking to spend big money on every single player. We need to sort of spread the money across quite a few players, and that is why I think Christos Mandos stands out to me, the Greek international, heavily linked to Manchester City when Stefan Ortega was linked with a move away from the club, and Ederson. He can come in very cheap. He's 75 rated already at 22, and I think as a backup goalkeeper, he certainly has what we're looking for at Manchester City, and he certainly could be the goalkeeper of the three on our list we could make a move for. Well, as we know, Kyle Walker made a free transfer to Sheffield United in the Championship. A bit of a downgrade for Kyle Walker and a massive pay cut as well. $14,000 per week for the 34-year-old who makes a move back to his boyhood club after leaving Manchester City on a free transfer. Now, Rico Lewis is going to be our first choice right back, but we are looking for someone else to come and be a backup to Rico Lewis, someone who offers something a little bit different in that position. We've got options in more expensive players like Now Molina, 26 years of age, but he would be one that's going to cost, what, 60, 70 million to come in and be the sort of first choice right back, you'd say, and I want Rico Lewis to be the first choice right back, so that puts him down my list. Again, I'm not looking for a starter, I'm looking for someone who can compete with Rico Lewis and not be someone we buy in to put straight into the first team. I know sometimes that's maybe not the best transfer policy to buy backups, but these players I'm looking for are not necessarily backups, just good competition for Rico Lewis. And I think because of Molina's rated at 84, because he's going to expect to play first team football straight away for us, he's not really the man I'm exactly looking for straight away. We've got Agustin Guay here from Argentina. He plays for San Lorenzo, around 10 million for a 20-year-old, can play centre midfield, right wing back, right mid and centre mid, not exactly right back. He can probably play the Rico Lewis role of drifting inside, but I think he's just a little bit too inexperienced to become in and be a big part in this Manchester City side this season. If Rico Lewis was to drift inside and play midfield at times, we want someone who can play right back. If Rico Lewis is also in the team playing in midfield. Michael Coyote stands out to me, the Italian. 15.5 million market value, is going to cost around 22 million, maybe we get him less, but 20 million for a 20-year-old fullback at 78 rated sounds like a pretty good transfer signing if you ask me. He's one that is on my list of options, high on my list of options, the young Italian. Quite a big group of options really, because Julian Ryerson from Borussia Dortmund, a Norwegian international, knows Erling Haaland pretty well, and he can play left back as well. So he could be an option to come in on that right hand side, but also play on the left hand side if needed. But the player that's looking like the most favourite option to me is Milan van Elwick, the Dutch fullback from Coventry City. Made that move from the Dutch League to the Championship. He's been really good playing as a right wing back, playing as a right back, playing as a right midfielder, a very attacking fullback, an overlapping fullback, and he's very much something we don't have in Rico Lewis, who wants to go inside. Van Elwick wants to go outside. So he stands out to me, playing the Championship. I think he's ready for that step up at Manchester City. I think he could really develop well under Pep Guardiola, and he is probably high on my list in that right back situation. Now on to centre-back, where we're expecting to give Callum Doyle a chance in pre-season to impress after returning from a loan at Norwich City. But we do have a list of a few players to replace Nathan Ake anyway. One of those is Gerard Branthwaite, who is a very, very highly rated centre-back in the Premier League. One that Manchester United heavily wanted. I think Chelsea interested as well. Liverpool, Manchester United, Arsenal, the list, Spurs, many teams interested in Gerard Branthwaite. I think he could be described as the new John Stones, coming from Everton, so he could be a good option. We've got a defender who replaced Joško Vardiel at Leipzig, and we signed Vardiel. We could then sign the Vardiel replacement in Castells Lukeba. He's a very, very highly technically gifted fullback and centre-back as well. Can play at left-back, but I think more as a centre-back position. He's very good. He is on my list as well as options. I do like the idea of bringing in Castells Lukeba, but maybe sway towards Branthwaite a little bit because of his quality a bit higher, and also he's English, and that's what you want. Another sort of cheaper option, I'm looking at maybe Las Palmas' Mika Marmol, who is a player linked with Girona, Manchester City, looking to bring you into Girona perhaps. A £32 million release clause, which is hardly anything for a player probably of his quality. Only 23, the oldest of those centre-backs on the list, but a developing young Spanish centre-back, and one, again, that if Callum Doyle doesn't work out in pre-season, he doesn't impress us, we'll look to move maybe for one of those centre-backs. And the transfer target list continues because we are targeting a squad revamp this season. Left back, another opportunity to look at. I do want a backup to Joško Vardiel. Rico Lewis played a lot of it there last season. I want to be permanently on the right. A backup to him in maybe Van Elwick or whoever we target. Then a backup on the left hand side. Anthony Robinson of Fulham counts a homegrown player, just an experienced Premier League player. Can come in for around, I think we could get him for around 20 million, which is between that 19 and 23 million pound mark that Fulham are looking for. I think for 20 million, an experienced fullback will be great. We've got Patrick Dorgu here, who has agreed a transfer, or the club agreed a transfer anyway, in Lecce with Parma. So if we were to make a move for him, we'd have to make it now. A young fullback to develop into a top player. I just think, for what I'm looking at right now, I think Patrick Dorgu is not the level I want already. I want someone already a bit more experienced, a bit more quality, and Anthony Robinson at around 20 million would be that man. But Patrick Dorgu for the future, maybe one we sign in a future career mode. We do like him here at Manchester City, and we do like his development. We're keeping a key eye on his development. And the other left back we could go for is Reinight Nuri, someone who can drift inside, play the sort of Rico Lewis role on the left hand side at the left back position. But he's going to cost upwards of 30 million, and I'm not looking to spend that sort of money on a backup left back. There's too many key areas in the team we need to improve upon. Whether we spend big money this year in replacing De Bruyne, I'm not exactly sure. But Nuri for 30 million, I just think he's too much, considering we're looking around the 20 million mark to spend on a new left back to back up Vardiel. And now possibly one of the most key positions to improve upon, with the departure of Kevin De Bruyne and the possible departure of Bernardo Silva this summer. We're looking for a new midfield. Now, Manchester City's top target in the past to replace Bernardo Silva was West Ham United's Lucas Paquetá. We saw news, didn't we, in previous episodes of last season that his betting investigation had been dropped and that Lucas Paquetá wanted to reignite that move to Manchester City. He feels like he missed out massively on that one. So he is on our list of targets. City have scouted him for long enough to know how good he is. A player who has got one of the most top assist maker, one of the most creative players in Europe is Alex Baena of Villarreal. £54 million release clause. I think he could come in and replace Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne, with numbers as well, especially. Not just in terms of play style and quality that he brings, but in terms of output. Getting those assists, Alex Baena certainly brings that. And most of these players we've seen scout reports over last season, and they've impressed our scouts. And we continue to look, and the club have promised Pep Guardiola we will be willing to spend big. We've got Kang In Lee of Paris Saint-Germain. He's like very much a sort of David Silva player, the way he moves. Maybe that's something Pep Guardiola will look to bring into his side. Kang In Lee can complement Phil Foden, but maybe Foden is already our David Silva, and the way he moves, it can glide across the ground. I think he's going to cost a lot of money to bring him in from Paris Saint-Germain. PSG and City don't have the best relationship, I suppose, because of the ownership and the background. But I think for around 40 million, 50 million, City could get that deal done. And it's who we are favourites to sign, really. Who do we want to sign in all these options? Kang In Lee, Alex Baena, Lucas Paquetá. We'd have to make choices, wouldn't we, in those players? But the list doesn't stop there, of course. We do have other options on our list as well. Ohian Sanka, who is very much a attacking midfielder, but he's going to cost maybe 90 million. But he does have a release clause of 84 million, which might be cheaper than trying to negotiate with Athletic Club. The thing is, though, with these Basque players, they just don't want to leave, do they? They seem to be very happy at staying at their clubs and staying in the league they play for. We've seen Zubimendi reject a move to Liverpool, to Barcelona, to many other clubs before, Bayern Munich. Maybe if City came in for him, they'd accept it. Nico Williams rejects a move to Barcelona to stay at Athletic Club. So maybe Sanka's not the best option. There is a bit of an out there option in Gabri Veiga of Al Hilal. He could move back to Europe after being heavily linked with Manchester City and Chelsea and some other clubs as well, but in that move didn't work out, did it? He wanted to move to Saudi Arabia, which is a strange move for a young player of his quality, but he showed the ability he does have at Celta Vigo in La Liga, one of the breakout players that season in La Liga 2 years ago. Moved to Saudi, where I don't know what he's doing in Saudi. I don't know how many people actually pay attention to the Saudi League. But he could be one that we bring in. He could be a good option. He's got good physicality, good quality, and he likes to grab a goal as well, which I do like to see someone who can get goals from midfield. We want someone else to help out the burden on Erling Haaland, Ivan Toney, and players like that in the team. Jamal Musiala would be the sort of big money transfer to replace Kevin De Bruyne. 200 million, upwards of 200 million perhaps, to bring this man in, which I think with the squad revamp we are set to go ahead on, that we need to go in with so many players leaving. I think Jamal Musiala for 200 plus million would just be a ridiculous sum of money, and probably too much money that doesn't need spending. I mean, he's only 21 years of age. That 200 million would mean that he plays for the club for a very long time, but I'm not exactly sure he is the player we should be looking at, really, because of that price tag. And the same perhaps goes for Florian Wirtz. That, again, going to cost nearly 200 million, 180 million to bring him in. A lot of money for a lot of quality. But they're two players that I'm looking at replacing De Bruyne in perhaps an FC25 career mode, of course. We've got to remember FC25 is so close now, in fact, that it might even be released to the people who've got early access. I haven't got early access, and I do want to wait until the bugs are out of the game and so on, because there are always bugs that start career mode right there. You have to wait maybe a month before things start really going well, and maybe we wait a month, maybe wait a few weeks after the start. But Florian Wirtz and Musiala will be on our FC25 shortlist. Don't worry about that. Maybe some of these few other players as well, but I don't want to sign anyone in this career mode that I'm going to sign on FC25. That is certainly something I don't like doing. I like to keep things fresh and different. And in terms of formation playstyle this season, we're going to line up in this formation this year. We're going to line up in a diamond midfield 4, 2 wingers and a striker. But I want the tip of the diamond, who will be Phil Foden for most of the season, sort of playing just off Erling Haaland, like 2 strikers, like a 3-3-4. Pep Guardiola likes to change things, develop things over the season, doesn't he? He likes to always try and keep things fresh and new, and we're keeping things fresh and new with this formation, this tactic, and this lineup going into the new season. This is what things are going to look like. And before we get into pre-season, well, we'll just show the goals and the highlights of pre-season to try and keep this moving rapidly. I just wanted to show you a move away from the club. Of course, we knew Kevin De Bruyne left the club at the end of his contract. City kept him in the CFG, and he has joined New York City FC. Now, their season doesn't start till January, so he will have 6 months more to try and develop his terms of recovering from that injury. And hopefully we see Kevin De Bruyne back to his best one day. I think at that age, his career is coming to a halt. But at New York City FC now, and we wish him the best. And it's just good to see him there, playing the MLS. Good for his family. Good for the club to keep him within the CFG. One of our key players, one of the best players ever to play for Manchester City. And all we can do is wish Kevin De Bruyne good luck. Manchester City versus Sevilla here in pre-season. A chance to try out tactics and so on. Didn't go so well last season, pre-season, of course, for us. Neither the start of the season. David, past Rico Lewis. Nuno Santos with a strike right into the top corner. And Sevilla have the lead. Well, Scott Carson absolutely nowhere near that one. With bodies, with numbers. Nuno Santos once again squares it for Jonathan David. 2-0 Sevilla. Just couldn't get the ball away, City. Diaz with a foul in the box here, and Jonathan David scores anyway for 3. Luca Bacchio. Doyle Dunn. Luca Bacchio makes it 4-0. Oh dear, what a start to pre-season for Manchester City. Right in there out to Lawrence. Emilio Lawrence clips onto the far post to Jeremy Doku. City pull one back 4-1. Pretty much the last kick of the game, that one. In pre-season, our kick-off to pre-season isn't very good. A 4-1 defeat to a Sevilla side, and defensively City felt like they were a little all over the place today. Well, transfer that we expected to happen finally has happened after winning so many Premier League trophies at Manchester City, after winning the Champions League and coming to Pep Guardiola and saying, listen, now is my time to go. I've given everything to the club on my terms. City allow Bernardo Silva to leave the club for £35 million. He returns to Benfica despite being worth £93.5 million value in the game. We accept a £35 million offer for Bernardo Silva, who makes the move away from the club back to Portugal with Benfica Thank you, Bernardo, for everything you've given to the club. You've been an absolute fantastic servant. We couldn't achieve everything we have done without you. You're one of Pep Guardiola's favourites, and hopefully we play Benfica one day in the Champions League or so on, and we see you return to the Etihad and play against this Manchester City side. What a player, what a servant. Thank you, Bernardo Silva. Well, Bernardo Silva going as well, we do need to start making moves for our transfer targets, and as the Bernardo Silva replacement, I've narrowed it down to the Bernardo replacement to two players. A player that really wants to play for City, and the fact they want to play for City does sway me in their favour. The fact that they've been linked with City before, the fact that City want them, or did want them. Lucas Paquetá is on my list as Bernardo Silva replacement. These two players are going to replace Bernardo, one of these anyway. So, Lucas Paquetá from West Ham, and the other option is Alex Baena of Villarreal. They're the two players we're going to go for. One of those is going to be our Bernardo replacement. I'm just not exactly sure quite who yet. But we're going to make a move for both. Maybe we can get Mateo Kovacic, one of those deals who wants to move away from City due to game time. And I have heard that West Ham are interested in Kovacic. Perhaps there's a deal to be done there. But it's really time to get the ball rolling in the transfer market. So starting off with signing number one, replacing Kyle Walker, we've agreed a £12.5 million deal for Milan Van Elwick, which includes a youngster, a young fullback in Tom Galvez, 67 rated Tom Galvez, who is a young fullback, still developing. We're looking to sell him permanently this summer. Coventry City interested in Tom Galvez, so 12.5 million plus Tom Galvez, a deal agreed for Milan Van Elwick. What a signing he could be for the club in that attacking wing-back right-handed sided role. A deal is accepted and he arrives at the Manchester City training ground, a new Manchester City player. A very different sort of fullback for Pep Guardiola to develop. Maybe he can develop him into maybe a player that Guardiola's worked into before, an attacking fullback, and maybe a Dani Alves in terms of play style on the field, attacking wing-back. Maybe we could see that from Milan Van Elwick. He's put through his paces in his Manchester City medical as signing number one of the new season, and he will, what it shows there, wear the number 2 shirt. I have agreed that. Milan Van Elwick, welcome to Manchester City. A £12.5 million deal, plus Tom Galvez sees him join the club. And we don't stop there in terms of transfers, because we do agree a deal for another fullback. This time on the left-hand side, we decide to go with Anthony Robinson as a new Manchester City player. Handshake for the first time with Pep Guardiola after being and meeting Guardiola a few times while on the field for Fulham. Again, like Van Elwick, put through his paces in a medical to prove that he has no injuries and so on. He won't wear the number 6. I think he's going to wear the number 15 at Manchester City. That is the chosen number. Anthony Robinson joins Manchester City, a homegrown player despite being a USA international. He joins City in a £25.5 million deal. That's a very good move for us. And he makes the move to the Etihad Stadium. And we don't stop there. One more first team signing here, and that is a new goalkeeper to play Stefan Ortega. We agree a deal for Greek international goalkeeper, 22 years of age, developing very well at Lazio. Comes in to be the backup to Edison. The new Stefan Ortega is a young goalkeeper in Christos Mandas. He's got a big future at Manchester City. We bring him in, he won't wear the number 1 shirt, he'll wear the number 35 shirt like he wore at Lazio. And the new goalkeeper arrives at Manchester City in a very good cut price deal, really, of only 4.5 million. So a 4-1 defeat in the last one against Sevilla, despite being actually quite good, but defensively a little bit frail. Vardy at centre-back today, Robinson at left-back. That is something I think we're going to use quite a lot this season. Up against a far player in Julian Alvarez, and up against a very good manager in Diego Simeone, as he tries to get his Atleti side back to full sharpness, ready for the new season. Good interception by Vardy, gives it away in front of his own box here. Alvarez a strike and off the post and in. Well, Christos Mandas concedes his first Manchester City goal with a first shot on target. Doku for City. They're in trouble here. They're in big trouble here, Atleti, because Jeremy Doku, he's too quick for the rest of them. And it's Doku. And it's Jeremy Doku who makes it 1-1. Great finish by Doku. So easy. Tony against Oblak. Ivan Toney steps up. What a free kick from Ivan Toney. And at the far post, Llorente. Vardy stops it. Back to Llorente. Back across the box for 2-2. Chasing. Paul. Mandas is out. Mandas dives for it. Griezmann! Atleti take the lead at 3-2. Robinson's supposed to have brought that in that fullback, left fullback position. Chance for Griezmann who makes it 4-2. Good finish. City torn apart again at the back. And City very bad at the back. John Stones poor. Robinson not a good debut. Lots to think about for Pep Guardiola going into this new season. Well, breaking news, Manchester City have found their Bernardo Silva replacement for the end of today's episode. Manchester City are set to sign Lucas Paquetá after the clubs agree a deal once again for the 3rd season in a row. This time, the move finally comes off for the Brazilian wizard, and he is going to be a fantastic addition to Pep Guardiola's side. A hard-working, technically gifted midfielder who brings lots of flair, brings dance and good vibes to the side. I'm sure he will do that, and hopefully not encouraging any players to do any betting. He's there being put through the medical for Manchester City. So Van Elwick has signed, Robinson has signed, Mandas has signed 3 players, and we sign another player who will wear the number 8 shirt at Manchester City, not the number 7, because welcome to City, it's West Ham United's Lucas Paquetá, who joins the swap deal. 15 million plus Mateo Kovacic. What a signing. Here we are against Mumbai City, looking to get our first win of pre-season, and our only possible win of pre-season in this final game. Over top here, Rico Lewis onto Erling Haaland. Great football from... That is perfect football for Manchester City. That's what we want to see. We need to look at improving this team. What a spin on our defenders here. Kanji have been done. Mandas can't save that one. 1-1. Mumbai City equalise. He's past Rico Lewis here. It's the box. A chance here, and Callum Doyle loses man. Mumbai City take the lead. Manchester City defensively absolutely shot to pieces again in this game. Kanji with a great challenge. No. Chance again. 3-1 Mumbai City. And I am worried going into the Premier League season. I am very, very worried going into the Premier League season if that is the best performances we can put in pre-season. Well, disappointment pre-season for Manchester City, but big explosive news to end today's episode, and a very much a high. New York City FC have agreed free transfer for Neymar. Neymar out of contract in Saudi Arabia. He is going to America to play for New York City FC. And there is a suggestion in this report that we could see Manchester City look for a short-term replacement for Kevin De Bruyne, look to spend the big money on maybe a Musiala or Florian Wirtz next summer, and bring in Neymar from the CFG, playing for New York City FC, on loan to Manchester City. Could Neymar join City on loan, like Frank Lampard did those many years ago, make a big impact for one season, go back and play with Kevin De Bruyne for New York City FC, and then City go and spend the big money next season after completing their revamp this year? That would be an insane deal. And let's just say that move could possibly be on. Thanks for watching. Please like the video if you haven't already. Please do subscribe to the channel if you are new. And we'll see you guys next time.